Welcome back. Now that you've created your skinny brick, we can break off and do the different sections of part 2 of our Milestone 2, depending on what Lego kit you are building from. This tutorial is going to go over our Lego for our helicopter, 6911. You do have a few more configurations to build, but once we get into them, they'll be pretty simple. So let's start. Students need to create part numbers 302001, 371021, 4211056, 302221, 302121, 379521, 302021, and a 2x1 flat brick using configurations. So all of the configurations we're going to create are going to be in our one skinny brick part file. So instead of handing in 8 different parts, we'll hand in the one part file. So I wanted you guys to have the skinny brick so you could learn how to pattern and just all the basis and use your global variables and equations, because creating our configurations is going to be so easy. So let's get started. We need to create our configuration numbers first. So on your feature tree, Design Manager, go over to the third tab over, and this is your Configuration Manager. You'll see the main name of our part file as well as default. We want to make sure our configurations are going to be labeled and nestled under the main part file. You can add configurations as well to our default, but they'll be hidden in the configuration tree, where if we add them to the main part file, we're going to be able to see all of them right here. So go ahead and left click on the part file name and then right click and click Add Configuration. Now we are using the part numbers for our configurations. So I'm going to start with 302001. Now this is a 2x4 white brick. So I'm just going to put in a basic description of white and 2x4 and then hit OK. So you can see how it popped up now in our configuration manager. So once again, I'm going to do the same thing. So right click on the main name and add configuration. This will be 371021. Its description is going to be red, a 1x4. Hit OK. Right click again. We will add the next configuration, 4211056. This is a gray 1x6. The next part number is 302221. This is a red 2x2. So there are a couple of these configurations in this certain Lego kit where we only are going to need to change the color. Alright, this configuration name is 302121. It is a red 2x3. Gotta make sure we get them all. 302021. This is a red 2x4. This is going to be the last part number, 379521 from our Lego kit. This is going to be a red 2x6. So make sure you have all 7 of those files. So we have the 302001, 371021, 4211056, 302221, 302121, 302021, and last but not least 379521. So now we just need to create our flat brick. This is not an actual part in your kit, so we will just name it flat brick, and its description is going to be a parent file, and this will be a gray 2x1. So this parent file we're going to use to create all our derived parts from. So let's begin. We'll start with just 302001. So make sure you double click it. You'll see that the main skinny brick you already designed will stay the same, but your part number is lit up. Go ahead and go over to the Feature Manager Design Tree, and now we're going to change our equations. So select Equations, right click, go to Manage Equations. We can now just change this value to 4. Make sure that this drop down arrow pulls up this configuration. If it doesn't change it, now that you're changing the values, this option will come up because you've created all of your configurations. So this remains 2. I have it in this configuration, and hit OK. And you'll see that our skinny brick has now updated to be 4x2. It is white, so we don't even need to change the color. Let's go to another part number, 302021. So double click your new part, make sure it's highlighted. Go to your Feature Tree Design Manager again. It remains a 2x4, so we don't need to change the equations, but the color is red. So go ahead and tap any plane on your part, then right click and go up to your color wheel that says Appearances. Now you can change the color of just the face of your part, you can do just certain extrudes or features, the whole body or the whole part. I'm going to select the whole part, pick out the red you would like your brick to be, and then scroll down and check that your display state is linked and it says this display state. Then go ahead and hit the check mark. Go back to your configuration manager and you should be able to change between both of the bricks you've already created, and now they're different colors. If you are unable to do this change, then within your configuration manager you'll come down here on the bottom where it will say display states. Right now I'm linked. If yours is not linked, go ahead and right click on the display state title, go to properties, and then check mark this link display states to configurations. If this is not checked, then your parts will not stay different colors when you assign them, and the global variables won't stay the same either. So it's very important that you have this checked. So make sure it's checked and hit OK. Let's move on to part number 302121. This is a 2x3 red. So I'm going to come back over to my Feature Manager Design Tree tab, right click on my equations, and I'm going to change this value to 3. Make sure that you're using this configuration only. Your 2 will still be in that configuration. You can also double check that you're in the right part number by this little toolbar and drop down menu on the top, and hit OK. It changes to a 2x3. Now I'm going to select that face, come up to my Appearances color wheel, go down to the body, select red again. Double check that you are still in this display state and hit OK. Let's move on to 30221. This is a 2x2 red. So go ahead, select your equations, change your values so they are 2x2. We're still in this configuration only, and hit OK. So now when we move to a 2x2, you'll see that you get an error with your pattern. That is because our brick is so small, we only have the first annulus that we created. We're not going to have a pattern. So to fix this problem, come over to your L pattern, and when you click on it, all these different icons will pop up. The one with 2 boxes and an arrow down says suppress, so go ahead and suppress that feature. that means we're not using it in this part number. You'll see that we are only working on the 2x2 red part right now. It's not changing it for the other configurations. So now our part looks good. Let's go ahead and make it red. So select the face, change its body appearance, red, double check, we are still in this display state. Go back to your configuration tree. Now we're going to do 371021. This is a 1x4 red, so our color remains the same. Come up to your equations tab, change your values to be 1x4. Make sure you remain in this configuration only. If you've noticed by now, under equations in your global variable toolbox, you'll notice that it shows where all the equations are and where they're being used. Then it'll show where errors came up because right now our pattern is suppressed. Go ahead and hit OK. So now you will get a sketch warning. We just want to hit continue. This is because you can kind of see this roundness right here. So my brick is kind of messed up because our bottom annulus is gone. But that feature is still trying to appear a little bit, and the sketch as well. Since we have a 1x4, we actually have 3 different smaller circles. So we need to suppress this feature as well. So remember, click on it, click the suppress icon. You can see that that bulge in the underneath of the brick went away. However, we still have our warning sign. This is because we suppressed the feature itself, but not the sketch it was derived from. So click this arrow on the side, go ahead and select that sketch and suppress it too. So now the entire sketch of our brick has been suppressed. So let's go ahead and create those new features on the bottom. You want to click and select the underneath face of your brick. Go ahead and bring it normal to you. So we're going to draw perpendicular to the view we're seeing. I'm going to flip mine around. So once you have your bottom sketch highlighted, go ahead and go over to your sketch tab. Now we're going to open a new sketch here. You'll notice that our new sketch comes beneath our roll bar because our previous features are still suppressed. So we're just adding on to the one part number we're working on, not all the configurations. Go ahead and select your circle sketch. And if you look under your brick, you'll notice that you have another smaller annulus and less of them. So we're just going to create 2 circle sketches kind of in the middle between our 2 underneath knobs. Since we do want to create an annulus, your midpoints need to be on top of each other. They need to be connected. We'll be sharing a midpoint. So now we have our 2 circle sketch. Go ahead and select Smart Dimension. We're going to dimension this inner circle to be 1. You can zoom in by using the roller on your mouse, and then you're going to dimension this outer circle to have the diameter of 2. Remember, we do not need to change our units because we're still working in a whole part document window that is in millimeters. Now we have the size of our feature, but we don't have its placement. So remember that we need to add in 2 more dimensions so it is held in a point in space. So go ahead and select that midpoint, and I'm going to first dimension off this top edge. This value is going to be 2. Sorry, 2.5. You'll see that it brought us right in line with the underneath nodes. Now I'm going to select that midpoint again. You can zoom in so you get a better shot at it. And the outside circle edge here. So I can create a distance between the two features. This value will be 4. Go ahead and click OK, and now you can see that it's fully defined. Now go over to your Features tab, and we're going to have an extruded base. I'm going to hold the roller down and turn my brick to the side so you can kind of see how big the extrude's going to go. Start from the top and work your way down on your feature tree manager. Under direction 1, we're going to change that from blind and select up to surface. We now are going to select the bottom face of our brick, just like we did before. You can see that that extrude is coming up to the surface. Go ahead and hit OK. If you do not see your extrude, make sure you hit this drop down arrow in the selected contours, and you can select that face. You can hit this side arrow and then select that sketch you are working on, and then go ahead and hit OK. So you can see we now have that one annulus on the bottom. Go ahead and select that bottom face again and bring it normal too. Now we're going to create another linear pattern because we want 3 of these. No point in sketching them all over again when you can just simplify it. So still under your Features tab, go ahead and select that linear pattern icon. We're going to use the longer edge for our direction. Now before we had to use the same edges for our top and bottom patterns. Since we won't be changing this brick and it's going to remain this way, we only need to select the direction we want the first row to go. So go ahead and select either one of your long edges. Make sure though your arrow is pointing away from the node or annulus you've already created. So we're going to change that direction. We do not need to have 2 directions. So you can get rid of that, hit this arrow up. Now for our features, we just want to replicate our extrude we just created. You can see a preview of what it's going to look like. Go ahead and hit OK. Now you'll notice we have a 1x4 with the 3 underneath annuluses that are completely different than our original skinny brick part. Go ahead and make sure that you're saving your parts often as well. Sometimes SolidWorks will shut down because the files are so big, and it always shuts down at the most inconvenient time. So let's keep working on the rest of our part numbers. So now we're going to go to 371021. Make sure you select that part number. You'll see it changes back to the original skinny brick. We'll come over to our feature tree manager and let's manage our equations. So this part number, so we're going to go ahead and change our length. We're now creating a 2x2 in red. Make sure you're selected this configuration only. Make sure you have the right part number. If it happened to be on the 3710, it'd want us to switch everything. Make sure you are on your 302221 part number and hit OK. We now have a 2x2. We're dealing with that underneath pattern becoming an error, so go ahead and click on it and hit suppress again. Select the face, and we're going to go to our appearance color wheel and change its body color to red. Make sure it's on this display state only. Alright, we're now going to create our 4211056. Go and manage your equations. This is going to be a 1x6. Hit OK. We need to suppress our patterns again and our features. You can see that underneath the annulus coming through. So go ahead and go to pattern, suppress, and now suppress that first boss feature we created. Make sure you double click it or click the side arrow so you can suppress the sketch as well. Now you can select that underface and bring it normal to. You can unsuppress the annual you made before, or keep it suppressed and create a new one. If you unsuppress it, you'll need to recenter it. I'm going to just create a new one, so I'm going to go and bring my face normal to. Go to the Sketch tab, open up a new sketch, and create 2 more circles within themselves if you are creating a new one. You do not have to. I'm going to move a little faster on this since we just did it. Remember to dimension that inner circle 1, our outer circle 2, dimension of 4 in between, then a dimension of 2.5 to center it. Go back to your Features tab and select Extruded Base. Make sure you're changing your direction to up to surface, and this outside face is your surface. And hit OK. Now go to your linear pattern. Remember to select one of the long edges for your pattern. We're going to want to still leave that dimension 8, the distance, but we're going to change our instances from 3 to 5. And then hit OK. So now you can see we have our 1x6. It is gray, so I'm going to select the face. I'm going to change my color appearance on the body and select gray. Make sure you're in this display state only and hit OK. You can see that there's still an error coming up. That's because I need to suppress that sketch. Now let's save. Go back to your configuration tree. You can see you have your default part here. Make sure you've created all of the parts. We still have to do 379521. So go ahead and check it off. Go to our equations first. We're going to change them. This is a 2x6. Hit OK. Let's rebuild. Let's see what our error is here. I'm going to go into Edit Sketch. I didn't have to change anything and the warning went away. Sometimes SolidWorks does that. I am going to hit the rebuild. And we're going to change this face to red. Make sure you're at this display state only and hit OK. So now we have our 2x6 in red. So we just need to do the flat brick. So for our flat brick, we're going to manage equations, change it to be a 2x1, hit OK. We're going to want to suppress both of these features again. Since we're a 2x1, we don't have this underneath feature. But we do have one node in the middle. So I'm going to bring that face normal to, go to your Sketch tab, open up a sketch, going to create another smaller annulus, smart dimension the inner circle to 1, the outer circle to 2, the distance 4 to center it. This value will be 2.5. Go to your Features tab and we're going to extrude that. Remember to select up to surface. You can turn your part by holding the roller down on your mouse. Select this bottom face and hit OK. So now you can see we have our 2x1 parent part. Go ahead and select it, change its body appearance to gray, hit OK, and save your files. Remember, this 2x1 gray parent part is going to be what you use for your derived parts for the next part of your milestone. Double check that all your configurations work. So go to your configuration manager, start at the top, and click each of them. Make sure the colors are correct. You have the correct number of nodes. If for some reason one doesn't look right or it's not changing, go ahead and go to the rebuild icon on the top that looks like a stoplight and hit rebuild. Sometimes it takes SolidWorks a minute to catch up to how a part should look. If no errors pop up, you did a great job. You created all your configurations and your 2x1 parent part. You can go back to the feature tree manager and make sure that you have no warnings or errors. Save your part and look for our next tutorial.